Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I think the Miami Heat may be interested in acquiring Dame Lillard. It seemed to me they were signaling that they would be willing to take back a big contract, given the fact that they had interest in Bradley Beal, and it came down to those two teams, Phoenix and themselves. As I look at the situation now, I'm saying, okay, maybe the Charlotte Hornets go with Miller after all. Scoot Henderson ends up going to Portland, and from there you may see a situation where Portland would be ready to move on from Dame Lillard. Now, Miami has been a place that obviously wants a player like Bradley Beal. Of course, they would want Dame Lillard. That's how I look at that. Contracts even less. No trade clause is not there. Clearly, you feel like Dame Lillard can help you get over the hump with, Jimmy Butler there, Bam Adebayo, or whatever you're able to retain. But that's the problem. The Heat don't have picks. To my knowledge, they don't have any to give to the Portland Trailblazers to make this make any sense. You would have to throw in Bam Adebayo or Jimmy Butler in order to make it make sense for the Portland Trailblazers, unless you get a third team in. Now, what I'm looking at there is Duncan Robinson's contract and Kyle Lowry's contract. That makes the numbers match for Dame Lillard. What you would want to do is send those contracts to a team that is in need of removing salary, someone who wants to get rid of salary, because I don't think Portland would want to take that back. They would want pick equity. In the event of doing that, Miami would have to take back that whatever that salary dump would be, and the picks that would come with it would then be going to Portland. That's how I see that going in my head. Excuse me, because otherwise, Miami doesn't necessarily have the assets to make this make any sense. You could throw in Jovic, Caleb Martin's coming off the fantastic second round, so maybe you look at it that way, see him as an asset. But other than that, you're probably throwing in one of your core, as to which, if you feel Dame is an upgrade from Jimmy, then that's a whole nother conversation. But I don't think giving away Jimmy Butler is what anyone wants to do. Bam Adebayo, kind of the same thing. Maybe you throw him in just in case, but I can see if you want to move on from Bam, you could probably get him in a different deal instead of a throw-in for the situation salary match. You need the pick equity to make this make sense. But Chris Haynes did report that Miami is monitoring Dame Lillard's situation at this point, now that Bradley Beal's moved on to Phoenix. I think it's something to pay attention to, because it's only going to be a couple teams, in my humble opinion, that are going to want to take on large contracts, especially given the circumstances with the collective bargaining agreement and the tax apron and all that other stuff. But Miami has signaled to everybody that they're one of the teams that wants to do this, and I think Dame Lillard is a I ain't gonna say consolation prize, but he's definitely what you would want to bring in if for some reason you went for Bradley Beal and could not get him. And so I think it makes sense at this point. I don't know if Portland's necessarily ready to move on from Dame. Maybe they trade the pick to bring Dame some talent to play with himself there. But it's up to Portland at this point, and it's also up to Charlotte to see what happens there, depending on what they do with their pick. If they take Scoot Henderson, they can shake some things up in that regard. I don't think anybody's moving Dame Lillard if Miller is on the board and they take Miller. So that could be a draft day decision. But that's how I see that going. You would have to find somebody, a third team, that it doesn't mind giving up draft picks, that must get rid of salary. I'm thinking of a team like the New York Knicks, maybe. Some of the contracts that they have with Evan Fournier and Julius Randle, maybe they would be willing to throw in one of their picks. They have several. To get rid of some of those players so they can free up some cap space to do some other things if they chose. I don't know where they would see an upgrade to that. I don't know how you would make that make sense to them, given the fact that they could probably move those guys in other trades that won't have to give up picks. So, you would have to make it make sense for the team that you would find. Obviously, there are better examples. I'm just not thinking of them. But you have to find teams that have contracts that they do not want anymore, who are willing to throw in picks to get rid of them. Rudy Gobert, but they don't have any. You see what I'm saying? But that type of situation, the Minnesota Timberwolves don't have any picks to help themselves to do that. And so that's the key, is to find the team that will want to do that. And I think some kind of way you can make those contracts make sense without having to give up one of your core if you're Miami. You just bring them to Dame Lillard, bring Dame Lillard to you, and just continue what you've been doing as a pick and plug team. So, this is why you want to keep picks. I always say picks in the NBA is currency, because it allows you to facilitate these things more easy, or if I can speak correctly. This is how you do it. You want to make sure that you have as many picks as possible so you can throw them in, pick swaps, and all this stuff. It's the flexibility necessary to move. So hopefully teams are learning from one another's decisions or mistakes, or however you see it. It's a lot of other things in play, obviously, but when you try to maneuver around a new collective bargaining agreement that has, salary restrictions that are really, serious, you want to make sure you're doing things that make sense for your franchise if you step over those aprons. So I don't know what would otherwise be the best for the Portland Trailblazers. I know they have had some issues with their cap over the course of the last several years. Getting out from under that Dame Lillard contract, bringing in a guy like Scoot Henderson could turn things around for them pretty quickly. So I don't know if they see it that way. Maybe they see a better chance toward a championship by sticking with their legend Dame Lillard and letting him retire a Portland Trailblazer. I think a lot of people have their heart wrapped up in that, and maybe that's the way to go. But I think the Miami Heat probably have their eyes on Dame Lillard. Whether they can win the sweepstakes for Dame or not is an entirely different story. But I think they're one of the teams that are looking to bring on a contract that large to help bring themselves a super team. And that's what it seems to me. So, I think Miami will also have other options too if they want to go that route, including trying to bring themselves some pick equity. That might make more sense for them. But we'll see what these teams want to do. At the end of the day, these are some bold teams, and the Portland Trailblazers have shown that they're ready to make some moves at this point. And Chauncey Billups is a coach that's probably ready to win a championship. I'm pretty sure you don't bring him in with expectations to just hover around the play-in tournament or outside of it. So that second, or rather third overall pick can help them majorly, and they need to make a good decision with it. That's for sure on their end. And as far as Miami, well, they just need some scoring. I mean, I think they're barking up the right tree. I don't hate the Beal fit. It just didn't work out. It probably should have, but the Suns owner was certain that was the way to go, and I think Tyler Hero probably held up the trade on the Miami end, as to which I agree. I wouldn't have did that either. So there are other ways. Dame is there, and I'm pretty sure there'll be some other guys too. Nobody's thinking about James Harden going there, but that's probably a place that he would probably turn his attention to if he doesn't go to the Rockets. So that's just me brainstorming. But yeah, there's some things to pay attention to there. There's some things to pay attention to. James Harden is a Miami guy. I'm trying to think that through. I don't know if he's actually a Heat culture kind of guy, but as far as them taking on a contract like that, they may be willing to do that. So I don't know. We'll see. That's pretty much what I got. My name is BDO44. I'll take you off watching. I'm out.